The day the Blackwood empire crumbled, the staff scattered like roaches in the light. Servants vanished without a word, the maids, the gardeners, even the chef. All that remained were drifting specks of dust and Ethan Blackwood, the last heir, lying silent in his bed like a ghost haunting his own home. And me? I was Sadie, his caretaker, packing the last of my things. My worn suitcase sat open on the bed, my final sweater neatly folded inside. My fingers gripped the zipper, ready to leave for good. That's when it happened. Words shimmered into existence before my eyes, glowing faintly in the air like comments on a live stream no one else could see. Major plot twist. The Blackwoods pretending to be broke is genius. What a way to flesh out the traitor in the company. Ugh. My heart hurts for the male lead. Faking a coma to stay under the radar is already brutal, but now he's completely alone. Wait. Where's the fiancé? Isn't she supposed to show up soon? I'm just here for their romance. My mind stopped cold. Then, in the next breath, a brand new idea struck me. I zipped up the suitcase, spun on my heel, and dashed back upstairs. Ethan lay motionless, his face calm and distant. I slid my arms under him, guided him gently into his wheelchair, grabbed the suitcase handle, and headed for the exit. As I rolled him down the long gravel drive, I made sure to cry just enough for anyone watching. Don't worry, Ethan, I choked out, voice trembling with theatrical despair. Even if the Blackwoods lose everything, even if we're left with nothing, I'll never abandon you. My name is Sadie, and I've never learned to keep my mouth shut. Growing up in a group home taught me that silence never got you noticed, talking did. When I was 8, Mr. and Mrs. Blackwood visited the home looking for a companion for their son. The director gave me a sharp nudge forward and hissed, "Try not to talk too much, Sadie. Don't scare them off." But the second I saw Ethan, I forgot everything she said. It was my first time stepping into a mansion. Ethan lay in a bed smaller than the room deserved, surrounded by toys I didn't dare touch. His skin was pale as porcelain, his brown hair perfectly combed, his pajamas covered in tiny white bears. Mrs. Blackwood knelt beside me, smoothing my messy ponytail with gentle hands. "Sadie, our Ethan is very sick," she said softly. "Would you come by to talk to him? Just an hour a day. We'll make sure you go to a good school and have new clothes." I nodded so hard my neck hurt. That same day, they brought me home with them. They set up a small cot in the corner of Ethan's room. That first night, I crept close to his bed and brushed my hand lightly across his. "Hi, Ethan," I whispered. "I'm Sadie. I'll be your friend from now on. People say I talk too much, but that just means we'll never run out of things to say." Oh, and guess what? The cat at the home, Daisy, had kittens today. 3 of them. One's orange and fluffy, like a little ball of fire. "I'll bring a photo next time, okay?"
He didn't respond.
But I didn't give up. Every night after that, I'd sit beside his bed and tell him everything. How I failed my math quiz because I swore 3 + 5 made 10. How my sunflower drawing got taped to the classroom door. How a boy tried to impress a girl by picking her a rose and ended up getting stung by a bee. Sometimes I'd clip my old barrette, the one my mother left me, into his hair just to see how it looked. "If you were awake," I'd whisper, "you'd be the most popular boy at school. Way more handsome than Mark from social studies." Once, I got the silly idea to dress him in one of the frilly pink dresses Mrs. Blackwood had bought me. I'd just started unbuttoning his pajama top when she burst into the room, half laughing, half panicked. "Oh, Sadie, sweetie," she said gently, placing a hand over mine. "We don't dress boys in dresses." "Why not?" I asked, confused. "Because boys wouldn't like that," she said finally. I never tried it again. Instead, I started tucking my old teddy bear under his arm at night. "Here," I whispered. "He'll keep you company when I'm not here." By the time I reached middle school, I was strong enough to lift him into his wheelchair on my own. Every sunny weekend, I'd take him outside to the rose garden. I believed sunlight might help him, just like it helped the flowers. I'd spread out my blanket, scatter my textbooks, and talk as I studied. "Pomme means apple. Banane means banana," I'd mutter. "Do you think I'll pass this time, Ethan?" Sometimes I swore I saw his fingers twitch, but I tell myself it was just my imagination. Once, I fell asleep mid-sentence, and when I woke up, his hand rested lightly on my hair. His fingertips were warm. My breath caught. I didn't dare move until Mrs. Blackwood called us in for dinner, and slowly, his hand slipped away. When I left for college, I moved to a dorm near campus, so my visits grew fewer. Still, I returned every week, always bringing him warm cinnamon nuts from a street cart and stories about my writing club. I truly believed he'd wake up someday. That we'd walk through the city together, talking and laughing, a paper bag of roasted nuts between us. I never imagined today's visit would change everything. I hadn't planned to walk into the ruins of the Blackwood fortune, or to see words from nowhere predicting a story I suddenly seemed to be part of. Being Ethan's caregiver had always been my job. But now it felt like I was meant to be his savior. The gravel crunched beneath the wheels as we moved farther from the house, twin lines marking our escape. And deep down, I knew that whatever this strange story was, it had only just begun. As I pushed Ethan toward my cramped apartment, glowing lines of text continued to scroll through the air in front of me. Hold up, is this random side character really kidnapping the male lead? Where's the heroine supposed to save him? This plot's gone off script. The fiancé was supposed to swoop in, not the nurse. Wait, are those his fingers moving? Is he cringing at her bad acting? LOL. Stop bullying her. At least she didn't abandon him like the fiancé did. She's the only one still here. I froze at that last one and looked down. Sure enough, his fingers twitched ever so slightly, like a leaf trembling in the wind. If I hadn't seen it myself, I'd have thought I imagined it. So, the whispers were right. He was pretending. My apartment was on the second floor of a walk-up with no elevator. I looped an arm around his waist and hauled him up step by step, both of us breathing hard by the time we reached the door. He still smelled faintly of cedar and wealth, an odd contrast to the fried onion scent drifting up from the food cart outside. I shot him a glare and muttered under my breath, "If you're faking this and making me carry your dead weight, Ethan Blackwood, I swear I'll dump you right here for the mosquitoes." That did it. His hand tightened around my arm, just enough to ease some of the pressure off me. The floating comments went wild. He reacted. Oh my God. He actually reacted. These two are so much better than the main couple. No. Don't ruin the real pairing. Stay loyal to the fiancé, people. This girl's bold. She just pinched a billionaire heir. She's either fearless or suicidal. Revenge? Please. I wasn't afraid of him. I held all the cards now. If he gave me trouble, I could always reveal his little coma act. Not that I actually would. That secret was my only advantage. When we finally made it inside, I dropped onto the bench near the door, panting. My apartment was tiny, barely big enough for one person, let alone two. A single window let in warm afternoon light, turning the laminate floors gold. Ethan sat silently in his chair, his eyes closed but his expression unreadable. I wondered what he thought of my modest space after years in a mansion. Probably that he'd been exiled to a shoebox. The next morning hit me with reality. I was jobless. The fake bankruptcy had ended my employment. If I wanted to keep us both fed, I had to find something fast. I took a part-time job at the convenience store down the block. 8 to 4, 15 an hour. Just enough to survive if I stretched it thin. My days blurred into a constant cycle. Up at 6 to make breakfast and bathe Ethan. Rush to work by 8. Clock out by 4. Grab groceries. Cook dinner. Clean. Change him. Massage his limbs to keep them from stiffening. Then collapse, half dead, on the couch. One night, I was massaging his legs when fatigue swallowed me whole. I fell asleep with my head resting on his lap. Half dreaming, I felt a warm hand slide through my hair, then a jacket drape over my shoulders. When I jerked awake, Ethan sat perfectly still again, eyes shut. But the jacket on my back? Definitely his. The comments reappeared instantly. He covered her with his jacket. He cares. I repeat, he cares. If only she'd woken up 2 seconds earlier. The moment would have been perfect. Still waiting for the fiancé. The pacing's killing me. Days passed. 2 weeks later, rumors about the Blackwood collapse flooded the internet. Paparazzi photos showed Mr. Blackwood meeting shady businessmen. Some said he was liquidating everything. Meanwhile, my bank account was draining fast. What if the comments were wrong? What if the bankruptcy was real and I just doomed myself by dragging Ethan into my broke little apartment? What if he wasn't pretending at all? Just as the fear began to close in, the words flared bright again. Breaking news. They caught them all. It was Vice President Miller. He'd been leaking secrets to a rival firm for months. The betrayal's over. The Blackwoods are about to make a comeback, and the caregiver struggles are ending soon. Still waiting for the fiancé. Anyone? No, just me. Forget her. This loyalty duo is the real emotional core of the story. Relief flooded me so strongly, I had to sit down. Maybe I wouldn't have to count every penny after all. I was stocking cereal at the store when the words suddenly blazed across my vision in flashing red. Emergency! The mole Miller found out he was exposed. He's sending thugs to kidnap the male lead to use as leverage. T-minus 10 minutes. The black van is already parked outside her building. Move, side character, move. She's still at work. He can't break character. He can't defend himself. The cereal box slipped from my hands. My heart lurched as I sprinted into my manager's office. Mark, I have an emergency at home. Please, I'll make up the hours later. He must have seen the panic in my face, because he just nodded. I didn't wait another second. I tore through the streets, lungs burning. The 5-minute walk to my apartment became a 3-minute sprint. Sure enough, a black van sat idling under a flickering streetlight. Its windows were pitch dark, the paint dull and dirty, no plates in sight. I didn't look twice. I ducked my head and bolted for the building, taking the stairs 2 at a time, nearly tripping on the way up. My hands shook so badly, I could barely get the key in the lock. Inside, everything was quiet. Ethan sat in his wheelchair, head tilted slightly to the side. If I had known better, I'd have thought he was truly asleep. The countdown ticked in my mind. 2 minutes left. I tore open the entryway drawer, found the old pepper spray Mrs. Blackwood once gave me, then grabbed the wooden bat from the balcony corner. It was heavy and solid, the weight steadying my trembling hands. Then came the pounding. Bang, bang, bang. Open up. Building inspection. Checking the meters, a gruff voice yelled. Every muscle in my body went rigid. The actual property managers here were sweet elderly women, not this. You already checked last month, I shouted, backing toward Ethan's chair. You've got the wrong unit. Open the door, girl, the voice snapped. Or we break it down. I shoved Ethan's chair toward the bedroom, but before we could get inside, the door exploded inward. The lock flew off, the wood splintering into the air. 3 men burst in. The leader had a buzz cut and a jagged scar slicing through one eyebrow. He carried a switchblade, gleaming under the overhead light. Where's Ethan Blackwood? He barked, scanning the room until his gaze landed on me. Hand him over. There's no one by that name here, I said, clutching the bat with both hands. You've got the wrong place. He smirked and took a step closer. Funny, since I watched you Willem in here. Don't make this harder than it has to be. The knife flashed as he raised it. I lifted the bat defensively, but he grabbed my wrist with crushing force. Pain shot up my arm. His other hand swung the blade toward me. I squeezed my eyes shut, waiting for the sting of the cut. But it never came. When I opened my eyes, Ethan stood between us. His hand clamped around the man's wrist, stopping the blade inches from my skin. His other arm pulled me behind him, shielding me completely. The eyes that had always stayed shut were now wide open, and they burned with a fierce, cold fire. Ethan's gaze cut through the intruders, sharp and unrelenting, freezing them in place. The chat exploded. He's awake. He opened his eyes. I'm losing it. The act is over. That move was clean. Sadie's face. OMG. She looks possessed. My mind blanked out completely. Ethan wasn't just pretending to be helpless. He'd been hiding this entire side of himself. After years of lying low, how could he still move like that? The intruders froze, eyes wide. No one expects their unconscious target to suddenly stand and fight back. His voice came out low, calm, and commanding in a way I'd never heard before. Were you looking for me? The leader stammered. You're not in a coma? Ethan gave a dry, humorless chuckle. He didn't answer, just twisted the man's wrist with a loud crack and snatched the switchblade away. The rest of the group scrambled backward in panic before bolting for the exit. They didn't make it far. The front door burst open, and a team of uniformed officers stormed in. A detective in a gray suit stepped forward. Mr. Blackwood, we've apprehended the suspects. Ethan nodded once, then turned toward me. I stood frozen, bat in hand, my pulse racing. His cold expression softened instantly as he brushed a strand of damp hair from my temple. Did they hurt you? He asked gently, his voice low. I finally managed a shaky breath. How long have you been pretending? And why stop now? He guided me toward the couch and smiled faintly. Keeping up the act made everyone around the company drop their guard. It made them think my father had no heir capable of running the business, which helped us expose the people plotting from within. Turns out, we uncovered more than expected, including a corporate mole. His grip tightened around my hand. When I realized you might get caught in the crossfire, I couldn't stay still anymore. The chat scrolled wildly again. He's so soft with her. Look at the hand holding. This is the real romance. Forget the fiancé plot. Sadie literally saved him. Even if he could fight, she distracted them long enough. It hit me. I hadn't actually struck anyone, but I had stood my ground. Somehow, I really had been part of his rescue. Ethan's tone softened further. Thank you, Sadie, for taking me out of that house for everything. But tell me, how did you know I wasn't really in a coma? I thought my performance was perfect. I blinked. There was no way I could admit I'd had a mysterious live stream chat feeding me clues. I just noticed small things, I said quickly. You brushed my hair once, and the night it got cold, you tucked your jacket over me. A slow grin spread across his face. So, you were paying attention. I underestimated you. My cheeks burned, and I pulled my hand back, only to flinch when pain shot through my arm. I hadn't realized one of the intruder's swings had actually caught me. Ethan's expression darkened immediately. You're hurt. Let me see. He turned my arm over, revealing a scraped bruise. You need medical attention. It's not that bad, I protested, but he was already steering me gently toward the door. At the clinic, he hovered beside the doctor the whole time, his voice edged with concern. Please, be careful with her arm. The doctor chuckled. You're quite protective of your girlfriend, young man. My entire face went red. Oh. No, we're not. He's just a friend. Ethan didn't correct him. He only smiled faintly, watching me with amusement. The chat naturally went wild again. He smiled. He actually smiled. That little smirk could kill me. Help. Don't bother explaining, Sadie. We all know what's happening here. So, what about the fiancé plotline now? After that night, Ethan officially moved into my small apartment. He said the family wanted to keep his recovery a secret until the situation was fully resolved. That, and he wanted to repay me. His version of repayment meant taking over everything. He cooked, cleaned, and even insisted on doing the laundry. My role as caretaker had been completely reversed. Now he was the one wrapping my bandages and making sure I rested. Having him fuss over me felt unreal. Every time he leaned close to check my wound, I could feel the heat rise to my face, and I had to look anywhere but at him. Sadie, he said one evening, carefully applying antiseptic, you studied business, right? When all this is over, I want you to come work at Blackwood Corporation. I blinked. You want me to work for you? You're serious? Of course I'm serious. His voice was steady, his eyes soft. You're capable and loyal. You'd be an asset to the company, and I'd like to have you close, where I can make sure you're safe. The chat instantly blew up. Say yes already. This is your moment. Did he just confess? Or am I imagining it? What about his fiancée, though? Exactly. He's still technically engaged. What is going on? I wanted to say yes immediately. A position at Blackwood Corp was beyond anything I'd ever dreamed of. And as for his fiancée, well, she had nothing to do with my ambitions. I smiled faintly. All right, I'll do it. A week later, the so-called Blackwood bankruptcy scandal reached its end. Mr. Blackwood appeared at a press conference, announcing the company's financial stability and revealing that the crisis had been a deliberate operation to expose a traitor within. With the spy arrested, the corporation was stronger than ever. The next day, Ethan brought me back to the mansion. Mrs. Blackwood ran to hug me the second she saw me. Sadie, dear, thank you. If not for you, I don't know what would have become of Ethan. You're too kind, I said softly. It was nothing. I've always felt like part of this family. Mr. Blackwood smiled, his tone approving. Ethan, this young woman is a blessing. Take good care of her. Ethan nodded, his gaze never leaving mine. I intend to. A few days later, I began my new job at Blackwood Corp as the receptionist. And on my first morning behind the polished front desk, I finally met the woman whose name had been flooding my chat for weeks, Victoria Sinclair, Ethan's fiancée. I had just finished logging the last visitor when the sharp, commanding click of heels on marble announced someone's arrival. Victoria Sinclair entered like a force of nature, every inch the heiress. Designer clothing clung flawlessly to her, makeup perfect, posture impeccable. She radiated the effortless confidence of a woman born into privilege. Her eyes swept over my modest uniform, and a faint, condescending smile curved her lips. I'm here to see Ethan Blackwood. I'm his fiancée, she stated, each word dripping with expectation. "Which floor is his office on?" I stood, forcing a polite smile. "Good morning. Mr. Blackwood only meets visitors by appointment. Do you have one scheduled?" Her expression hardened instantly. She leaned in, voice icy, rising with every syllable. "I said I'm his fiancée. Are you deaf? Who are you to dictate rules to me? Tell me where he is." Heads turned across the open lobby, sensing the confrontation. I pressed my hands into the desk, keeping my tone steady. "I'm sorry, but he's in a meeting and—" Crack. Her palm slammed against my cheek. Pain and shock knocked the air from me. The visitor log flipped, a pen clattering to the floor. Comments appeared in a frenzy. WTF? She just slapped someone? Poor Sadie. This humiliation is too real. This is beyond spoiled. She's a full-blown sociopath. "Ethan, where are you?" Victoria waved her hand as if brushing off a stain and loomed over me. "Let me make this clear. I am not patient. You will answer me. Now." I touched my throbbing cheek and took a shaky breath. "I'm sorry, but I can't let you proceed. I'm following company policy." Her laugh cut through the lobby, harsh and grating. "Policy? I am marrying Ethan Blackwood. My word is the rule here. Now take me to him or face consequences." At that moment, the elevator door slid open. Ethan stepped out, sharp and commanding, clad in a charcoal gray suit, his tie perfectly knotted. He scanned the room, then focused on my reddened cheek, brows furrowing in immediate concern. "What's going on here?" His quiet voice silenced the tension instantly. Victoria's fierce posture faltered. She tried to charm him, leaning in. "Ethan, darling." This receptionist was being deliberately difficult, some silly rules. Ethan ignored her, eyes locked on me. "What do you want, Victoria?" he asked flatly. Her triumphant smirk faded into practiced concern. "Well, our families have been discussing the engagement party, and I've already found gowns in millennial love." He didn't respond. Instead, his tone softened, concerned. "There's an ice pack in my office fridge. Go put it on before it swells." Victoria froze, aghast. "Ethan Blackwood, how dare you defend a receptionist over your fiancé?" she shrieked. "She's insubordinate. She doesn't deserve to work here." Ethan's expression went cold. "You're right. This position is no longer suitable for her." My heart sank. After everything, he was going to fire me to appease her. Victoria opened her mouth to celebrate her victory, but Ethan spoke first. "Effective immediately, Sadie is promoted to my executive assistant," he declared. "You'll work directly in my office and manage my schedule. The front desk is no longer your responsibility." I stared at him, disbelief overriding the pain in my cheek. Victoria froze, comprehension dawning slowly. Then she screamed, "Ethan, how could you do this? For a common receptionist? Have you forgotten the family alliance?" Ethan didn't flinch. "Family alliances are business. This is personal. You assaulted an employee and interfered with my company's operations. That ends now." He motioned toward the security team. "Escort Ms. Sinclair out. From now on, she is banned unless I permit entry." Victoria sputtered but fell silent under his icy glare, letting the guards lead her away. He turned to me, softening again. "Go get that ice pack. You won't have to deal with her again." I hesitated. "Are you sure? She's your fiancée. Won't this anger the families?" Ethan's jaw tightened. The engagement was a business arrangement. Blackwood Corp doesn't need it anymore. Protecting those who matter to me isn't negotiable. True to his word, he set me up in the office adjoining his. At first, I was clumsy and overwhelmed, mixing files, miscalculating numbers, missing calendar entries. Each mistake made my stomach twist in guilt, but Ethan never scolded me. He'd lay out the documents, point out the errors, and calmly explain. Everyone makes mistakes when learning. The key is understanding why. After work, he'd hand me books and case studies, patiently guiding me through complex strategies. Sometimes we'd stay late, dissecting business concepts together, him breaking them down so I could absorb them fully. Slowly, I improved. 3 months later, I could anticipate his schedule, manage meetings, and even negotiate preliminary terms for small deals. One day, he left a minor partnership in my hands. Using the methods he'd taught me, I navigated the discussions and secured an initial agreement. His reply came almost immediately. "Excellent work, Sadie. Better than I expected." The comments, once fixated on Victoria, now centered on me. It's like watching him train a wolf from a pup. Sadie is thriving. I love this growth. Her luck is unreal. Getting the CEO's personal attention is insane. But I knew it wasn't luck alone. It was Ethan's support, yes, but also my own persistence, late nights, repeated practice, and refusal to quit. Ultimately, the engagement between Ethan Blackwood and Victoria Sinclair ended by Ethan's own hand. Refusing to accept defeat, Victoria stormed to the Blackwood family estate, intent on appealing to Ethan's grandfather. But when she entered the formal living room, she found Ethan seated calmly, documents and photographs meticulously arranged on the coffee table before him. "You're just in time," he said smoothly, voice deceptively even. "This saves me the trouble of sending a messenger." He lifted a photo from the pile. It showed Victoria leaning intimately against another man outside a luxury high-rise. "Your boyfriend of 3 years, I assume? The one with a gambling problem. I hear he owes some very dangerous people over $2 million. Victoria's face drained of color. She lunged for the photo, but Ethan effortlessly moved it out of her reach. Sliding a bank statement toward her, he continued, "These are the funds you've been siphoning from your own family's accounts, all of which trace back to him. You intended to marry me to access my family's wealth, pay off his debts, and maintain your lavish lifestyle without consequence." Her lips quivered. "Ethan, it's not what you think. He and I are just—" "Save it," he interrupted. He pushed a neatly typed document toward her, a pen resting beside it. It was an agreement to formally end their engagement. "Sign this, and the business partnership between our families can continue uninterrupted. Refuse, and these photos and statements will be on every major news outlet by morning." His tone was calm, yet absolute. Victoria's hand trembled as she took the pen. One shaky signature later, she fled without another word, and never returned. With her gone, I continued to grow under Ethan's guidance. 5 years later, I had moved beyond the role of his assistant. From project coordinator to project director, I worked diligently, honing my skills. 2 years after that, I achieved a milestone I had only dreamed of. I became the youngest general manager in Blackwood Corp's history, a recognition of both hard work and perseverance. On the day of my promotion ceremony, Ethan sat in the audience, eyes glimmering with pride as I delivered my acceptance speech. When I finished, he stepped onto the stage, handing me a bouquet of champagne-colored roses. "Congratulations, Sadie."
"You did it," he said.
I accepted the flowers, my eyes misty, looking at the man who had guided me through every challenge. "I couldn't have done it without you," I whispered. He smiled, gently tucking a loose strand of hair behind my ear.
"No.
All the credit is yours. I only gave you a little push when you needed it." Sunlight poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows, bathing us in warm, golden light. For the first time, the comments, the constant companions that had narrated my journey, scrolled one last time, faint and transparent, before vanishing. "Our girl did it." Tears. This is the best kind of ending. Not just love, but triumph. Who even remembers the fiancé? Sadie has always been the true heroine. Go, Sadie. You earned every bit of this. I felt ready. The road ahead might still be long, but for the first time, I was truly capable, ready to stand on my own, to stand beside him as an equal, and to face whatever challenges awaited. The journey that began with a faked bankruptcy, danger, and desperation had finally reached its empowering, perfect conclusion.